All right, episode 3 of season 2 of the Harold Katz podcast. Glad you could join us, Oren Glickman, Akiva Poppers, and of course, it's always a pleasure to be with Coach. Coach, not broadcasting from the Sukkah today?
No, mine is non-existent because I'm home for one day before I leave. So that one day, I'm not doing that, but I took the time to do this show with you clowns. So
All right, well, we are in the month of October. So what does that mean? That means that we're gearing towards another YU Max basketball season. And who better to preview it than with Dothan Bardichev of the YU Max? Coach, take it away. He's all yours.
Dothan, also
Hello. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem.
good. Hey, I wanted to ask you one question before we start. You know, there's a famous Rabbi Levi of Bardichev who spells his name the same way. Are you related to Rabbi Levi of Bardichev?
Like I originally from the same village, but I'm a Cohen. He's a Levi, so I don't think
There
we're
you go. I got you. Okay, well,
village. Yes,
you're
sir.
you're still a Jew.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what's up. That's what's up. All right, Dothan, it's great to have you here.
Yeah.
We're gonna be before we start with anything else. I want to get one thing out of the way because it actually, what I'm about to say, cost us, I believe, a championship. Um, there's this thing in Israel because you watch so much NBA, or that's actually all you watch in Israel. You just figure, okay, I'm gonna foul this guy on a fast break for no reason because they do that in the NBA where they have 6 fouls and referees protecting them. I hope after your freshman year, you learned you only have 5 and referees definitely won't protect you. So
Right.
when you foul a guy 84 feet from the basket, does that make any sense?
Uh, I use like to start a fast break. Honestly, that's like the main
That is
like
the main thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but there's another way to stop the fast break, and that is working hard and get out in front of it. But if you're I'll give you an example, a coaching example. There's 29 minutes left, and we're up a point. To take that foul at that moment makes zero sense. And
Right.
everybody in Israel does it. I know it's an Israeli thing because they watch the league. It's a dumb thing in the league. And the reason why they do it in the league is the rules are very different. Like you're going to get to take the ball out of bounds on the half court line, and everybody's going to get to set up. You know, it won't, even if it's a bonus foul, they won't. It's like there's stupid rules in the league, and they get a 6th foul. And I think when you treat like the basketball, treat fouls like eggs, not like water. You know what I mean? Everybody treats fouls like water. I'm just going to use them and foul. And I've contended the entire time that if you stay on the floor, you will be great. And now it's just a matter of you staying on the floor. So that being said, welcome to the show. Tell us, have you been working on your game in the summer at least?
Yeah, playing a lot in Israel. I was in New York in the summer, so we were training. A lot of the guys, me, Max, Roy, Adi, Zevi,
Wow.
saw Gavin in LA. Yeah, we've been working ever since the Farmingdale game.
Yeah.
We've been putting that work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is how you do it. I mean, you know, I just think that games like that, you know, almost like we just lost an opportunity. We cannot have that happen again. And that's sort of the kind of leadership that I would like to think this kind of sophomore class and Gav and Adi can bring to the floor. And see, you know what? We're not doing that again. We're not pissing away games that we should have won. You know what I mean?
100%. No, 100%. Much more like a mature. And yeah, because we were a lot of freshmen just getting significant minutes. It was like some guys played college ball like Max, but like me, Zevi, I don't know. We needed to get acclimated for
Right.
sure.
How long you think? Ryan once told me, especially running our offense. Ryan said I really didn't kind of get used to it till my sophomore year. Like I'm just kind of thinking, you know, and then sophomore year comes and you understand it better and you know what we're trying to do better. Is that fair that the whole freshman season was kind of
100%. Yeah, we play a lot of pickup, so we know each other. So it's much more like fluent on the offense. We know everybody, like everybody knows their role. Everybody knows who needs to shoot where and that, and I think that helps a lot with the offense. Yeah, it was different. Like in Israel, everybody, like, we play pick and roll, and we play a lot different from this type of offense. So um it takes getting acclimated, especially when a season is like pretty not it's not that long. So
right? Games kind of run on you, especially at Yeshiva, because we have this long January break, and games run right on top of each other. Whereas some schools might have one game a week or 2 games a week. You may have 3 games a week and 7 in 10 days or something like that. That's a lot.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You have to be ready to go.
100%. It felt like usually those games were like not like like we learned in the games to how to like to play with each other in
Right.
a sense.
Right.
In a
Well,
sense.
because you didn't have a chance to beforehand. So let me ask you this question. Because last year, Rosh Hashanah came out right away, like right in September, and you had to leave early from when we were kind of teaching everything.
Yep.
I mean, you kind of got it, but you think that affected you a little bit? Like when you came back, did you feel like you were a little behind, or no, it wasn't like that?
Um it moved so fast. Like we had, I don't know, like 2 weeks of training, intensive training, and then we straight to Illinois. So it moved by so fast. Honestly, we were working really hard every day. We waking up early. So it took like few practices, but I watch a lot of like games, so I had an understanding like what I was expecting. So I think that helped. Yeah,
You watched old YU games from
yeah. I used to work like at a night job, and I had like spare time. I was watching like a lot of games,
the
tons
night.
of games.
Did you watch the 1920 team? The team that
Um,
and
I
won?
think I watched some video of someone analyzing a team with Simcha. I think your son Donnie played
Yeah.
there on the team, so I think I saw some videos of that
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, well, that's just high IQ basketball, which we have, and I find you have an exceptionally high IQ, and sometimes I found you almost afraid to kind of let it out. In other words, let's talk about College of New Jersey. I think you hit a back cut in the game. You threw a back cut and you kind of threw if I'm not mistaken, a skip or something. You caught another layup. And it was like, man, this Dothan's going to be great in this thing. And I think we kind of just stalled out relatively early and stopped running those, whether we're crowding the lane, you know, or whatever. Do you find that to be the case?
We focus a lot. We try to get like our shooters open, like Oren, Zevi, Max. So
Right.
I feel like maybe when part of like and it rightfully so, like they're incredible basketball players. So maybe part of back cuts weren't really, I know we were always like back screening and trying to get those guys like I didn't feel maybe we played that a little less. I believe so.
I think it's made for your ability. In other words, your vision in this thing, um, your willingness to pass, your IQ. I mean, it's hard, on these fast break fouls. I'm always like, how's a guy with such a high IQ do something so stupid? But that's just me. And then I go, oh, he's Israeli. But hold on. But your IQ has a chance to kind of take this thing to like a whole nother level that I'm not even sure you understand you could play at, or that we can play at. And I think we kind of kicked those opportunities away and started relying too much on jump shots. And we became very Yeah, we're kind of young, but we came very like jump shot oriented, and I think you have to play inside out in this thing, not outside in. That being said, what's your comfort level posting up?
Um, when I grew up like in Israel, they try to play me guard, so I wouldn't really post up,
Right.
but I'm comfortable. It's more like I think it's a lot of it is confidence and just when you're confident, you're fluid in the game. I feel like posting up like I don't see it. I don't think that's like a barrier. I think I could like take a lot of guys and post them up and pass the ball out. I think during the season though, like people were making shots, and I don't know. I feel like it was like we were going with the flow of the of our of like people like Oren was shooting 50% from
Right.
three, and Zvi was playing incredible max also, and Matan was able to find him really well. So I feel like that it's like something that we didn't even speak about. It's like naturally our game went that way.
I kind of feel like what made that team you were watching years ago great was how many great passers they had out of the post. Because we want to play inside out. Like you're right, those shooters are there to shoot the basketball. But if you bring the ball up the floor and you're not touching the post and everything is jump shot centric, then at some point the defense is gonna go, you know what? Go inside. Because we're just not gonna let you do it. And that's kind of what started to happen to us. And we became very like, you know, myopic, you know what that word means? It's like very focused on that, and we wouldn't go inside, and our inside presence didn't want to go down a block, so this will explode, as you'll find out next week, God willing. This will explode when we can get you in the post and have you pass out of it, because now all of a sudden you become like Donnie and Gabe, where you can play inside, and then if you guard me in there, I can take you outside. Because of the way you pass the basketball, we could get back cuts off your back. We could get skips opposite. That's sort of the way I envision it. Is that how you see the game?
I'm all for it. It's a lot about trust. Like it's all about starts from practice. So guys are gotta be like trust me with the ball. So like if we're playing practice and I gotta ask for it, demand it, and it starts in practice, and when it works in practice, it will just naturally just go into the game. I'm all for it. I want to have fun. I want to pass the ball. I want to play. Whatever the coach tells me, I'm just there to play basketball. And if
Well,
I gotta play,
in my opinion, you're best when you're passing the basketball, because then everything plays off of that. You can shoot on the perimeter, you can finish at the rim, you can make free throws. Like as long as you take care of the ball, yeah, I mean it's hard. You got to make it hard for coaches to get you off the floor. You know what I'm saying? Don't help them by fouling some cat under the bucket off a rebound when
right.
he's got to go 90 feet to get a bucket, and we're over there. That's a little bit
It's
of
the third league. In the
uh,
third league, you can call
yeah,
foul.
yeah, they do.
In
Yeah,
the third league, you gotta get an elbow to the face.
Israel, yeah. But here it's like you look at a guy the wrong way, you may get a call.
Exactly.
And that's why. How much of that is an Israeli adjustment to American college basketball, and how much of
Oh,
that is just you just being knucklehead?
a lot of it me being a knucklehead, but again, we in Israel, like we play, we're Israelis, we don't we're playing with our hands, we're giving elbows,
Right.
like
No
I don't know.
no autopsy, no foul, right?
Exactly. If he doesn't know, I had teammates like they would play in the post and they
Yeah,
would do all sorts of tricks. So
right.
it's an adjustment. Although like it's different. Like college is much more athletic than like St. Joe's. Our first game we played was a big like
Yeah,
they were very long and like that 6'7" athletic. It was hard to play against them.
Did that surprise you, or were you prepared for it?
I was surprised. They had size. I trained like with second league and like in professional, and it had size. It was a
Was this a different kind of size because of the athleticism?
the athleticism. Usually Israelis are not like we're not like their whole warm up windmills. You
Yeah.
don't see that.
We don't
It's
really have the Jews don't really have a lot of bounce. I
exactly.
mean, there's some who have it, but the majority of Jews, they're dunking because they're 6'7", not because they're 5'7".
Exactly.
You know,
100%.
so let's talk about that for a second. So growing up, you're playing club basketball. That's what it is in Israel, right? You don't play
Yeah.
for your school, right? You play for
The
your
school's
club.
like minor, yeah. It's mostly club.
So you
Mostly
get
club.
recruited to play for that club, or you try out for that club?
Well, I joined Maccabi Tel Aviv at like a young age. They just like they look at you like my dad is very tall, so they
Right.
don't care when you're at a young age. They want tall people or potentially tall people. So they just saw my dad, and I was playing like well. I was playing like a guard, so I played there, and they had like an academy. We had it was I saw some like the Sara check. It's a lot. It's very different. It's like a different basketball for sure.
In Israel than Sarachek.
Yeah,
Sarachek is kind of high school team type stuff.
yeah,
This is kind of like recruiting from the neighborhood. Like,
yeah. All
so
around.
where are you in Ramat Gan, in Tel Aviv? Where'd you live?
I used to live in a village, Moshav in Vered. It's near like Tel Mond, Kfar Saba.
Okay.
I was really born in England, but I moved and then I moved to Singapore, and then we moved a lot, but I used to live in a village.
Right.
And I moved to Tel Aviv. Um, and then
How old are you?
um, eighth grade I moved to Tel Aviv.
Eighth grade. So in eighth grade, they're like 6 feet tall. We are putting you in our youth program. 14U, is that where you're playing at that point?
Yeah, yeah.
How many guys are in 14U? Like, how many guys are you competing with to play?
So we have 12 guys on the team, and
That's in 14U. That's the top of Israeli basketball in 14U, Maccabi.
yeah,
And so,
yeah, but it's like the guys in 14, like because they bring so many guys from outside every year, it's hard. They don't not a lot of guys make it to 18. It's
right,
it's very
right. So let's go back. So you're 14U, but you're not on the national team. You're just playing with Maccabi Tel Aviv.
I played in the national team 14 and in
14U national team.
14, 15, and 16.
16. And so what happens at 17?
I had mononucleosis
Oh, you had mono. So
for
how
a year.
you're talking
So
about months, and now you're out for months, right?
yeah, it was yeah, it wasn't fun.
And that's next man up. See ya. Right?
Yeah,
That's what happened.
yeah, pretty much. And then I switched. I didn't want to return there. I needed like get in shape. It was so I moved to like another team who plays in the same division. Um, and then yeah, I trained. It was a good team. And then we played against Haifa, Maccabi. It was
Yeah.
competitive.
When I watched your film, it took me like a minute. And I'm like, can we get this guy? And all it was how hard you worked. Banging under the glass, running the floor, defending, passing the basketball, maybe in 2 minutes of film. It was game film because I don't dig highlights. They don't do anything. Highlights are like people who don't understand what college coaches look for, right? So like, you're gonna put here's some advice. If you're gonna put a highlight film together, I actually sent a clip of this to your coach a couple of days ago. If you're gonna put a highlight film together, in the first 40 seconds, you better show off your skill set. If you're just gonna show me standing in the corner banging threes, or stand at the top of the key banging threes, or dribble, I'm shutting that off. I don't care. You were very different. We watch a game film, and you're finishing on the one end and blocking or rebounding on the other, then kicking it out and of course your guard takes 100 dribbles to get up the floor, but you bust ass down the floor, and all of a sudden you got this motor that we're kind of like, well, we don't have that. We don't have that. Let's see if we can get this guy. This guy's, at your peak, as I see it, you're pretty friggin' good at your peak. Like you could start for any team in our league when you play your best basketball. And I'm not sure you can't start for any team in the entire Division III. People will laugh at me, but they don't know what I'm looking at, and I do. And I just think that you have to allow yourself to be great. Like sometimes, Dothan, you miss a shot, you turn the ball over, and your head goes down. And I'm sitting here going, that's over, dude. We can't get that play back. That's over. What are you going to do now? Understand? Like, now what? But kind of like I used to have a sign in my locker room that said, now what? We were once 18-0. And the sign in the locker room said, now what? Like, so we want, now what are we going to do? Like the same thing. If you turn a ball over, now what? It's okay to make mistakes. What's not okay is to do it again and again. And I think when you're at your best, I believe this, YU will be as good as you're going to play. In other words, we're going to get from Zevi, and we're going to get from Max. We already know. We know pretty much what we're going to get from Roy. The kind of X factor here is Dothan. We could be great, or you can struggle to stay on the floor. And I vote for you being great. That's my vote. And I think part of being great is allowing yourself the leeway to make mistakes and keep playing and not make them again, if you know what I mean. So as soon as they call you for foul, you put your head, you know what I'm talking about. You put your head down, or you're like, let it go. Call water off a duck's back. Ducks, they just have water on their back all the time. You got to play like it's water off a duck's back. So now I get off my soapbox and I go back to you. So why come to YU?
I emailed a lot of schools. I wanted a good academic. YU has a good computer science program, so it really how do I say this? Intrigued me. I was interested. My cousin, my family relative used to play at YU, Gil Bash.
Sure.
So I knew about YU. It's in New York, and I feel like a lot of schools in the United States, like for a Jew, it's important to if I feel like I would go to another school, I would you have your identity, which is important to keep, and YU helps you do that. You learn in the morning, which is it's good.
Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I feel like I like it.
Get some Torah study in the morning, and then you're kind of moving
balance.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So you find academics difficult or challenging, or both, or neither?
Both. They're different. Like the CS program takes it like the basketball team. Like you can't miss class. Like you can't miss practice. They treat class like practice.
Right.
You have no phones. It's like they treat very professional and very competitive. And it's also difficult maintaining it with the basketball team. When I miss class. Like I take quizzes on the bus on the way to games. And after games, going back and have to watch a 2-hour recording. But it's part of the grind. Like I'm not complaining. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what most people don't get, and we'll get into this in a second. Most people don't get how much of a job this is. Like they think, okay, I'm just going to go play ball and, chill for a little bit, maybe play. Before I go to med school, I'm just going to play some basketball. Now, that works in some other schools, but in a place that's kind of turned into a bit of a national program, you got to maintain that kind of, or at least let's take national off the table for just a minute. Become the kind of one of the kings of the league. That's work. That takes a lot. So Noah uh, Siegel, first name. Help me. Why am I? No, I'm talking to these two knuckleheads. Siegel, JM in the morning. What is it? Nachum Siegel.
AM.
Nachum Siegel. Shut up now. You were too late. Shut up. I remember. Hey, Dothan, Nachum Siegel would always ask questions of guys, and I think guys always misunderstood the question. So here's the question I think Nachum wanted to know, and I'm going to ask you. Just explain to kids how much, like high school kids who are watching this, how much work you had to put in to play for Maccabi after you were tall. That's one thing, but now when you play for Maccabi, you're expected to retain this level of, say, excellence, right? So how much time, what kind of investment, how many shots does it take, how many sprints, you understand what I'm saying? To stay at that level and to be able to play college basketball at this level, which to your admission surprised you at how athletic it was, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, yeah, it takes, well, like my dad is a big help. Like we would shoot like hours, like after practice, before hours in the dark. Like during Corona, there wasn't even lights. In the dark, we would shoot. I had like in school, we would wait. We had like practice at 6, so we had to take a bus. And if you were late to practice, you would not want to be late. You would watch the practice outside on a chair. If you were late, you would do 6 a.m. be there, practice, school, and then another practice, and then gym, and that's like 14, 15, and then you have school and other work. It took a lot. It took a lot. It was fun. It was like it taught me a lot about life. It was a grind. Maccabi was very like extremely like they expected there's a lot of demand, and we like if you're like the best team like Maccabi, everyone says Maccabi Tel Aviv, you have to like every practice is a fight, so it takes a lot. You gotta work on the side. You can't never work what your team gives you. You have to always like
do more.
Exactly.
So would you say it was thousands of shots in ever since you were 10?
Yeah. Ever since I was 10,000. Yeah, probably like, yeah, a lot of like since I was 10, much more I think than thousands.
Right. I'm saying, but you're in the gym like that. People don't get it. Like your friends are going out to a party. Where are you? You're in the gym. I could probably.
My dad will help.
I could probably go. Huh?
My dad would like. He had like he would like bring earphones and just pass me the ball for like hour or 2 hours.
Yeah,
like
but I'm saying like your friends are going to parties, right? Or they're going to hang out. But if it's not Thursday night, you're working in the gym, right?
Yeah.
Like in Israel, it's Thursday night, your break night. Like kind of like a Saturday night.
We have exactly. It's something like that. We don't have school, so pretty much. You don't
have Friday, right?
Practice on Friday mornings.
Yeah.
So they let us do that.
We couldn't stay out too late. But I'm saying there's no school Fridays in Israel, correct?
Yeah.
Because of Shabbat.
Some schools have school on Fridays, but I think most schools now they change it, don't have schools on Fridays. So Thursday is pretty much the
Saturday night in America.
Yeah.
So your friends are going out on a Tuesday night and you're like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I got to be in the gym. When did you start lifting? Did you ever lift?
Since like 8th grade, 9th grade.
Yeah. And it was it how many days a week? 3, 4? What do they do in Israel?
Yeah. And it wasn't even for my team. Like I paid. We didn't like the trainer on our team. We didn't think he was good. My dad. So it's like I'm getting like I'll pay out of my pocket for someone who I think is you know.
So let me ask you this question. So now you're done with your freshman year. Worth all the time you put into it just to play college basketball in America?
Just yeah, I think I was always like a dream. A lot of kids in Israel like a dream to play college basketball in America, and like it's the you know when you they call your name in the starting lineup, it's there's the crowd is full,
Right.
and you have the honor and the privilege to play in such a setting, then like it's worth every second for sure.
So, yeah, I mean, you said this about how fast last year went. I'm gonna tell you, all 4 years is gonna be like a blink of an eye. V'chachalom ya'uf. You know what I mean? Like a fleeting dream. Yeah, it's just gonna go by, and you have to enjoy every moment. That's why fouling a guy 85 feet from the goal doesn't make no sense, right?
You haven't like in Israel we learn like you like sometimes well it depends on the momentum of the game. You foul to stop a basket. Is a foul worth of 2 points? No, it's I don't know.
Well, it
It's
depends
like
what. It's always time and score. You understand? Like, are we taking the same shot up three with 2.5 to go that we're taking up three with 29 to go? You understand what I mean? It's all time and score. So if it's the last 3 minutes of a game, I'm not allowing that layup up three.
right,
But if
yeah.
there's 29 minutes to go, there's a whole mess of game left. And that foul at that moment is worth more to you than giving up those two, if you understand what I'm saying. And so I think that's the equation that kind of needs to come to Israel. And I'm not picking on Israel. I love it. I want to coach there. But I'm just saying, like, that thought process, I'm just not going to give up those 2 points. Well, dude, you can give them up because we have 38 minutes left. What do you have more of, time or fouls, right? So that's kind of my point. Like, it's all time and score. Last 5 minutes, you're right. The last 3 minutes, you got to make those decisions. But with 30 minutes to go, I got to be smarter than that, especially if we're running stuff and counting on me to do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes but I think that's an adjustment too. Like, I think to me, that was the biggest adjustment for Israelis to come over here and play.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole, not be that in ball screen, because everything in Israel is ball screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw how they use you. Like, you didn't get to dribble off that ball screen?
Yeah, I played in team. It was interesting. Like a lot of the guys are 30, 40, and it's like professional. It's people's job. It's very interesting, like different dynamic than college ball.
Right.
I remember you said a comment. We don't in Israel. We don't watch NBA in Israel. We watch maybe like highlights. We watch EuroLeague basketball, and Israeli basketball. We watch like EuroLeague is I'd rather go to a EuroLeague game than an NBA game.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
It's I've told all the guys in the locker room, and the American guys are like, nah. But I stay. It's the atmosphere and the passion to the game is in the EuroLeague game. It's just you the moment you enter the like menorah in Tel Aviv and you watch like a EuroLeague game, you feel the atmosphere. The game is there's I don't have the vocabulary.
It's like college basketball in America, because you're representing your college, so you're representing your city. If you play for Ma'aleh Adumim, then everybody in Ma'aleh Adumim is coming out to watch you. And it's not like if you're with the Celtics. There are millions of people in Boston. Some come, some don't. It's 48 hours. It's 48 minutes. They got, this going on. They try to get your attention to the scoreboard so they can show you whatever. But there is not that territorial, you just hate the Lakers because you're from Boston. It's not because they're like the next town over. You know what I mean? Like if you're like Maccabi and Rishon LeZion's to your left, you want to beat Rishon LeZion. right?
100%.
Like
100%.
Ramadan, you're like, we're the king of our neighborhood, right? Like that's kind of what it is, right? Am I right?
100%. And Tatum has for example, Tatum from Boston has like a 5-year contract worth 300 million.
Right,
The stars in the league have a contract for 1 year or 2 years.
right.
So they're fighting for their children, to put food on their children's plates, and they're, you know,
I mean,
so
you're exactly right. And I think kids don't get it. Like you're 19 and you go, well, I'm gonna go over and play in Europe. You're in America. I'm gonna go over and play in Europe. And you come from some rich family here in America. Well, you're fighting with men who need to pay for their babies. Mom and dad's still gonna pay for you, regardless of how bad you stink here. So, but you got to compete with a guy who needs to put bread on his table. Good luck, man.
100, yeah.
Good luck. And
Like they do
go ahead.
during COVID, like some of the foreign guys like who played like D1 come to Israel, play in Israel. Some of these guys during COVID didn't have a job, so they were working. One guy was working in a gas station cleaning cars.
Right. You got to pay, man.
He's an incredible ball player.
You got
Incredible.
to pay for your baby.
Exactly. Someone's got to, food
Right,
on
but
your-
that rich kid from America, he just goes home. You know, the rich Jewish kid coming to Israel to play. Like his parents have money or whatever. He don't need that money. He just wants a ball.
Yeah.
But the guy you're competing with, no, you taking food out of his mouth. That ain't. You better strap up, right? I mean, I'm right about that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Strap up, or you're gonna get punched. That's why them elbows start flying.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I need to get paid, and but watching you, they didn't ball screen with you. They just said you clean up all the crap under the bucket.
Yeah. Different.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah. We had like one big man. We played like four, like a 4 and a 5, but 5 usually is a screener role. A 4 is usually guards the other team's 4 and
Right.
like shoots once in a while.
Right. So that's pretty much what you did, right? So
Yeah,
here
yeah.
you're playing. So here you're playing positionless basketball. You like that better?
It's
I'm not
different.
trying to put your future employment in jeopardy.
It's I like the fact that there's not much ego in our team, and it's like you said, we're playing for the university and
right.
not we're playing together. And I don't know, Elliot recruited great guys. Also, the new upcoming guys are great. So it's like locker room wise and ball wise, it just connects. So I feel that's what I really like about it.
Right. Do you think have you been in bad locker rooms before?
Of course, third
Locker
league is usually very toxic, especially when the team isn't playing well. It's because the team isn't playing well. They're trying to replace the coach, and start replacing players, and the coach is like, okay, the team's not winning. I'm gonna start changing lineups, and people again are fighting for their next contract in the league. So start seeing the young kid playing, and so they're
they put a little thing on your back. Boy's not even getting paid, right? So they put a thing on your back. And
like I had like 6 games I didn't play a minute, and then I was working, and the coach calls me in the middle of my work and says like, you're gonna start like this game. I didn't play the last 6 games. So it's like they throw things like that. It's
guys are trying to hang on to their job. I mean, as Jews, we are naturally reactionary, and we have to learn sablanut and patience. You know what I mean? Like we have to just be patient. It might take a minute to get our stuff to work. When we got to find the right match. Just be patient. But let me ask you this question: in Israel, man-to-man help, it's not a thing, right? It's kind of man-to-man, and is there a lot of help?
Usually usually the other big men can't shoot well. So there's always that one guy in the other team who can't really shoot. So usually game plan, sag off, or usually because we had a big man usually the big man like stays in the paint and for pick and roll is usually like a flat like he doesn't really
Yeah.
get out.
He's waiting for the roller to come to the basket.
Exactly. So yeah,
But
because
that's kind of the only help, right? Like
yeah.
so when you're now playing here, we're asking you from the weak side to come over and help in the paint. Adjustment for you?
Yeah, the rotations. I understand the rotations, but it's different. Like the defense never I never experienced this type of scheme where you push them baseline and help
Yeah,
come. You're kind of like
right.
zoning out in the weak side.
Sure.
It,
They don't do that in Israel, right? It's man to man. You get big
it-
off the dribble, we're going to let our big guy in the paint handle the
yeah,
dribble. And
yeah,
but here's the problem that I find watching Israeli basketball. Like that, it's too bad they don't do enough of it. When that big guy goes to help, they don't cover down well enough. If you're going bucket, those layups are behind that big guy because they don't cover down enough. You understand? There's not enough help on the cover down. Whereas with us, you'd have to drop to line a ball. So if he drives baseline and you're the help weak side, you got to get to that cover down. You like that guy's got a layup. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Help out.
yeah, and it just doesn't really. I noticed in Israel, it's kind of not the way things work over there, right?
Yeah. Again, there's different schemes. I've been like in youth usually um youth you usually switching a lot
Right.
and not really giving them a side but trying to like play solid because once they beat you you're kind of like
On your own.
exactly yeah once they beat you the defense is already like been penetrated. It's difficult to kind of stop the penetration. Yeah, it's different for
Don't
sure.
get a lot of help on penetration.
Luckily we had Matan was incredible like on defense, the amount of charges he got, and he was always like vocal, which was very important
Yeah.
for
Is that
all.
is that charge thing not a big deal in Israel or what?
We don't like no we charge. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to remember you grabbing a couple, and
I didn't get the charge. I
yeah.
gotta get some charges, absolutely.
I
It's a
mean,
shame.
that's just a matter of will right there. Like you don't have. I've said this on this podcast before. You don't. Hustle takes no talent. Effort takes no talent. It takes no talent to have effort, and it's incredible. Got some little kid who made the team from Texas, or Gav Landau. That's just effort. That's pure effort. Like that's just guys busting their ass, wanting to play. They just work hard, get in the way, sacrificing their body. I have a son who kind of did that for 4 years. Like you just, I want to win. You know what I mean? It's on this level. There are a bunch of things. You're right. Discipline, time management, friendships you'll never forget. You'll be friends with these guys for the rest of your life. Some closer than others, but you'll be friends forever. And whenever you meet each other, it'll always be, yeah, that's my boy. Even if you haven't talked for 20 years, it will still be this shared
100.
experience. That being said, it's got to be on this level about winning. You know what I mean? Like I think in the high school level, if you're coaching just to win, you should get out of the business. There's some of that in college too. I don't take it don't take that the wrong way. But if you have a team that's competitive and good enough, winning should be the thing right here. But winning the right way, like walking out of Farmingdale when they don't do that, when you have an agreement and they break the agreement, and it's a Shabbat thing. I mean, I don't care who gets mad at me. I support the move. Everybody gave Elliott grief. I think it was the right thing to do. I know guys weren't happy, but sometimes, Dothan, you have to let people know what you stand for and what you won't stand for. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you stand for and what won't you stand for? Like at some point, I got to say enough. I am not going to let you do this to us. We live a certain way. And if you don't respect it, no problem. But don't expect me to get on the floor when you want me to get on the floor. You know what I mean? So I'm like probably the Twitter sphere. I was in total support of what Elliot did. And I know guys wanted to play, but
Guys wanted to play, but we back up the coach. He's like the cap.
Yeah.
Like if the sailor decides if the ship leaves
Yeah.
shore.
yeah. So let's wow. So what is it? 12:30 for you now, or 1:30?
Yeah, I didn't realize that it's 12:30.
12:30. All right, we'll get you out of here in a minute. Let me just um who's who's a difference maker now? Any new guys a difference maker or
Or is great. Or is great. Yeah, he's a big man. He's a big boy, and he's a good shooter, and he's like a team-oriented player, and he's a good guy. So he fits all the
right. So
box.
he's. I mean, if you ask me, like you, he's made for what we do. But he's the perfect guy because he can shoot it, he can post it, he can pass it, and he can guard it, and he can rebound it. And if you get a guy who's willing to pass, as I've told you guys before, there are points, there are rebounds. Those assists are ours, right? I mean that, and you play not with each other, but for each other. And teams that play for each other, they're very difficult to beat. That's where I think, freshman year, all you guys playing and stuff, that was monster. That was huge. And I think we'll see the benefits of that this season. I'm really glad you came on here.
Thank you for having me.
Are you coming back on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll see you Monday night.
Just the small story.
Sure.
Like Hillel, for example, who's from Dallas.
Uh-huh.
So he was the whole when we got to YU.
Yeah.
He was like me, Max, some of the guys, we get in the gym like 7 a.m. before.
We're talking about Lil Banish now or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time he was there before in the dark, each time when there were no lights, every morning. So I have he's putting that work. He was.
I remember Donnie and Simply used to room together, and freshman year I got a text 1:30 in the morning from Elliot that Morty Weiss had seen them in the gym, and he took a picture of them on Saturday night working in the gym. They didn't go out and party. They stayed in the gym and they were working. They were freshmen. And Morty Weiss wrote something like, well, the future looks kind of bright if you got guys like this. And wouldn't you know it, the reason that you're excited that there are fans watching you play is because those two guys were in the gym freshman year working at midnight, because their games, and Oren was a play-by-play guy at the time, had like 20 people there. And now there's hundreds that show up to watch you play. And there will be 1,000 if they allow it and you win. That's just how this works. Am I right about that, Oren?
100%. I remember those days like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So Dothan, like,
thank you guys.
Like at some point, I believe little kids playing today, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, are going to be watching you and going like, I want to be like Dothan. So now it's up to you to do. You laugh, but I'm telling you, here's a quick story that I don't know if anybody knows this. We went through a thing where you had to get tickets online to go to a playoff game. And I think it was the first round or something. It was I want to say a Tuesday night or whatever. It was, I think 2019, because we were 29-1 at the end of the year. So we're playing great, and we're in, what's it called? Grandma's, my wife and I. It's like 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was,
We're playing Merchant Marine.
Merchant Marine, and there's a mom, a dad, and a girl, and they're sitting at the table by the window, and they were worried they weren't going to get any tickets. And I said, well, oh, we could try to help you with that. Who's your favorite player? And she goes, 33 is my favorite. 33 is my favorite player. And I go, oh, you're the one. And I go, well, now I definitely think we can get you tickets. And so if you remember, you wouldn't remember Dothan, but these two guys were, there was crowd outside the building at 4:00. And we were able to help her get some tickets with some player seats. And that was kind of cool. You know, when you're, and Dothan, if y'all work hard and play your cards right, you're going to get to see that happen, where people are going to be lining up to get tickets to see you play.
Bezrat Hashem. Just work. Bezrat Hashem.
Okay, Lila Tov, my friend, have a great night, and thanks.
Chag Sameach.
We may call you in the middle of the year, whether you stink or not, and have you come on here.
It'll be an honor.
Coach, I thought we have a rule about having players on during the season.
We do, but I might break it if Dothan stinks. But you know,
Basically, don't stink, Dothan.
yeah. All right, God willing, Dothan, God willing, I'll see you on Monday. Monday
Yes.
night, 8:00, my friends.
See you.
Shalom. All right, guys. It's us. What do you got? Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't get to ask him questions.
We can ask him questions whenever we want. It's not like
Yeah, he seems like he's an open book.
That's true. Oren, you said you had some things you wanted to discuss. First of all, I love listening to guys. Another side of my locker room was always bullfight critics, row by row, crowd the plaza full. But the only one who really knows is the guy inside who fights the bull. Like he's playing, he knows. You're getting to hear firsthand from a player, how different he thought it was, how much quicker he thought it was, the difference in defense, the difference in the way we're playing offensively, how much a grind it is at school, you know, how much time you have to put in to even get to play college basketball. You know, you're hearing everything firsthand from a guy in the ring, and that there's nothing better than that. So I'm glad we had him on. That was pretty
Coach. Also, his story is a perfect example of there'll always be someone who's working harder than you.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And that's the someone. Remember that guy, because he's in the gym just busting every day. He you know, we could be pretty special if he plays up to his capability.
Yeah, you know, anytime we talked about a game last season, what would your response always be? They are freshmen. They are freshmen. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Maxes. We're going to talk about the Zevis. But I think a key factor, as you pointed out throughout that interview, is we're going to see, hopefully, a major evolution between freshman Dothan and sophomore Dothan.
I think so. And freshman Roy, which is great. Freshman Roy and sophomore Roy. And provided that they're both healthy, we should see something very different from them. And I'm just telling you, I'm never going to be able to pronounce his last name, but Orr is a monster difference maker. And I only needed to watch him for 10 seconds. And
You're meeting him for the first time next week, right?
Yes. And just went, who is this? And can we get him? You know, that he just certain things that he did were so advanced, you know, from an IQ standpoint. So now you have a willing passer and a truly high IQ guy. He just has to get the Israeli out of him in a sense. You know, what I mean by that is he hasn't played American basketball. He's played Israeli basketball. So it's a different game here, as he said. And now if he raises his game to the level that we all think he has in him, now all of a sudden you have to deal with Dothan, as you had to on certain nights a year ago. Like you had to deal with him. He was a problem early in the game, banging 3 threes, get a couple rebounds, make a free throw. You know, he'd have games where he'd dominate for 5 minutes. And then just be like, well, why can't we do this for 20 minutes or 30 minutes? Like he has that ability. Or that's a whole nother level here. And I don't mean to, put pressure on a guy, but he's a whole nother level. He I mean, everything about him works for us. His effort, his ability, his IQ, we should be pretty good. Like to preview what we got going on, we should be pretty good, and we should be pretty good. Look, they're still young, honestly, but remember, Donnie, we started Donnie, Sim, Bart, Gabe, and Tyler in a conference final as sophomores.
Right.
Okay, so it can be done. We've done it before. We know how to do it. Part of the way we did it was with freshman year, regardless of how we handled each of them. But the experiences you get from freshman year, and now it's kind of put up or shut up. It's a hard schedule. It's not easy. We're gonna lose some games, but conference play, we're in another league, we're in another division, so it's not gonna be the same teams that we played before twice, right? Like we're still doing that, right?
Same league, different division.
Same league, different division. So, we have a chance, honestly, to be really good. And it's really going to be about no egos in the room, our points, our rebounds, our assists, our charges, our help, our cover down, our fouls, our turnovers, and I think we can do so at an 85-point clip like we've done before. And now it's still going to be about stops and if guys can get them or not.
Coach, do you think there's a non-conference game or two where a lot of people feel this is really going to go downhill, but you see it the opposite way, and there could be some positive developments to take out of these one or two non-conference games?
Quite honestly, my memory, Pop, what do we got?
Yeah, you want me to go through it?
Yeah, let's go through a few of them. Yeah,
Wesleyan and
All right,
Wesleyan's at home though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
Off the top, St. Joe's to start it off.
Again,
right.
Connecticut.
And they
graduate anybody, or they're all coming back?
No, they graduate.
They're all coming back for their 15th year for COVID.
No, they were all in their 5th year last year.
I saw some cat is starting his 8th year at some college. He had three, not in our league. He had 3. I just saw it. He had 3 redshirt years, and then he has a COVID year. So some guy's starting his 8th season. But a guy at I want to say Morgan or Coppin, one of those two. So
Coach, I guess the reason why I'm asking is because I think last year a lot of people talked about that Amherst win.
Right.
That says like there's a lot of potential with this team. So maybe we're looking at
I really didn't look at it that way. I thought the loss to Illinois to
Wesleyan, right, that first weekend.
The loss to St. Joe's in the first game obviously looked much better in retrospect.
Well,
but that was also
the loss to St. Joe, Connecticut, without Max. You're playing a game, in Illinois Wesleyan without Max. I mean, you're playing that next team who went to the NCAA tournament, I think, or to the final of their league without Max. And we drilled that team. Like you're playing them without Max. So, and then it took so long to get Max kind of reacquainted with what we're doing. And I along with other factors, I think there's a lot of that people don't understand. There's a lot of factors that go into things like that. So off the top, what do we got, Pop?
Yeah, I mean, St. Joe's and then the Oneonta tournament, which has Oneonta and Geneseo. But then probably what people are more looking at is back-to-back Saturday night, Sunday, both at home, NYU and Nichols. NYU is going to be preseason top 25, maybe top 10. Nichols was Elite 8 last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult because you want to play difficult. That's just what you want. I remember in Donnie's sophomore year, we played Ramapo, went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And that thing was close with about 10 minutes to go. Might even been tied or 12 minutes. It was something like that. And we just ran out of people. We only played a couple guys that night. Like we didn't have, I think Justin had a leg problem and Tyler couldn't play. And we had some issues, but the game, we're in the game. And then it was just, we just needed Gabe or DT to show up, like they were supposed to at the breaks. But that you measure yourself with games like Nichols and who else?
NYU.
And
NYU.
NYU, obviously. But I don't think we gave them a run. Like I thought we didn't even show up. So, we're gonna find out what we're made of with that NYU thing at home.
Right, compared to last year's road game there.
Yeah, it was a waste. We never should. Should have left the floor in 2 minutes because we weren't going to win that night. You could tell 2 minutes and we weren't going to win. We weren't even going to compete. That was the most disappointing for me is the non-compete, days we didn't compete, games like that. There was another one, I forgot who it was. Was it Washington College?
Yeah.
Immaculata.
Immaculata. We just didn't compete. We just, we had too many issues.
Yeah, I think I remember at one point you saying that was one of the most nauseating YU games you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd never seen a game like that, where we just didn't compete. We didn't play as a unit. We had guys barking at each other. That was as nauseating as the last game of the year, in the playoffs where guys are barking and screaming at coaches and stuff like that. There's no place for that. And there's no place for guys who do that.
Right.
And I don't care how competitive you are or how tough you are, there's no place for that. There's a reason he's a coach and you're a player. And if you don't like that, go leave. And then it's all about your character, when you're doing that the last game of the year. Be brave enough to do that the first game of the year. See if you make it to the third game of the year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that that's an underlying, that current runs through your basketball team. You just don't know it. And that blatant disrespect to authority, there should have been a player to step up and say, yo, we don't do that here. Because I'm telling you, that would have happened 5 years ago.
Right.
So
are D and Gob the captains this season?
Oh, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Gobbs is, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure, but Gobbs in a leadership position now. He's going to get minutes, and now,
There were times last year where you already thought Gob was captain, the way he composed himself.
Well, what I love about Gob is how hard he works on the defensive end, and how he's just trying to get everybody shots. He's trying to make the right play on the offensive end. It's not about him, it's about us. And if there are more guys who do that, we'll have a great year. Gob understands that the screener's always open. And sometimes you play with guys who don't understand that. And you can't teach that enough. Because you can say it 1,000 times and guys won't still do whatever they do, Screener is always, he is always open in this offense. And the day you understand that is the day your team's going to win. And that's why Silka Halpert scored 1,800 points, because he screened his ass off. And if anybody remembers the last few games Daniel Sion played, he started to screen quite a bit, making cuts. He was aggressive. And the guys who struggle in our offense are guys who refuse to screen or fake screen. They ghost screen. They screen ghosts. They don't hit bodies. Those are guys who are going to struggle in this offense. And I'm saying it here because it's something I would tell all of them if I had a chance. The guys who screen air are the guys who struggle with what we do. Oh, I thought there was a follow-up. So the answer to your question, Oren, is as a sophomore season now, they're all kind of, you got to be good, assuming everybody's healthy. there are no, to me, there would be no game where I just went, yeah, that's going to be good for us, because we shouldn't win that. I don't view it that way. Let's compete and see what happens. But it's the games where we don't compete, where we just kind of choose not to go in the paint, choose not to back cut, choose not to hit anybody, choose not to defend. Those are the games we're going to struggle, regardless of who you play, Immaculata or NYU.
Right. What box does a player like Orr fit in? Because he's a newcomer, but he's older. So do you put him in that experience category, or do you put him more in that?
Oh, there's a learning curve with this offense. I mean, there's a learning curve with the offense more than the defense. Although, with what we're going to do now, they're a bit of a learning curve on the defensive end too. But offensively, there's a learning curve, and it's big. It's a big learning curve. Pop, I think, didn't Simcha tell you that in an interview one time about the learning curve that comes with this, what we do? I think he did.
I'm sure he did once.
In a post-game interview, I kind of remember him saying that. But he's not
Probably.
the only one. Ryan said it, and other guys said it. I mean, it's true. And so, yeah. But here's the thing: his skill set and the way he plays basketball, it should, I don't want to say seamless, but it'll be close to seamless with him because of how good he is, how talented, his IQ, his understanding of how to play. It should be perfect for him. I'm excited to see him play in our stuff. And like, he's not just a recruit, he's a difference maker. No, the audio didn't go out. I just stopped. Like, yeah. He's a difference maker. He's a difference maker. And like you'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing him in person
next week in person, right?
Just watching him on film, I'm like, what do we got here now, fellas?
Hey, Coach, could you speak to if there are any other newcomers who you think could make an impact this year?
I mean, all of them can because of how their opportunities in practice. I mean, like, regardless of if Hillel sees the floor, he can change everything in the practice, like just by being the pain in the ass that he is on a defensive end. Right? That's his name, Hillel, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also gets off the court too, in terms of his
demeanor.
demeanor.
No, it's a great attitude. He's a tough little nut, and he can change things. There's some kids who, first of all, Effie Froilich now has a whole preseason. So
right. Never had that before.
He's almost like a quasi newcomer, because we had to throw him in and say, hey, figure this stuff out. And now we can actually teach him from the beginning. And I think we have to break down some of our bad habits and just reteach, because our habits stink, and we have to, that's not fair. We have some bad habits, and we get into bad cycles because of our bad habits. And if we break them down and go back to doing things the right way, and then I think the big kid has a chance. What's his name? Yoav. He has a chance to play a little bit and help us, especially, and then there's a couple other kids who on a perimeter may not have the kind of game that translates right away and needs work, but they can impact everything by screening and cutting and getting out and running. So there's a couple kids like that.
Haber.
Yeah. There may be one or two others, but that he can impact the game when he understands that, son, that jump shot may not be your thing right now. So go get somebody open and go basket cut and learn how to cut and learn how to play off the ball and learn how to screen and learn how to guard and learn how to rebound and learn how to run the floor. And my advice to every newcomer, and I mean everyone from or on down, is make life difficult for your coaches by just playing great. Just play great. And that goes for guys coming back too. Just play so well that your coach doesn't have a choice. He has to play you. And that, that's how Donnie eventually got on the floor. So, I don't know if you called that night, Oren, or like that, like he finally got minutes and they played Brooklyn and just had a 6 or 7 minute stretch where he was outstanding.
Yeah, I think I produced that game.
Yeah. Like that's how you just tell your coach, I'm not letting you take me out of this lineup no more. And from then on, he started basically every game except senior night. Because he's just like, when you get your opportunity, you have to grab it. It's not, most kids today think it should be handed to them.
Not just basketball related, anything.
Oh, it's life. Just grab it. You have to run with it and say, this is my job and ain't nobody going to take it. I don't know if I ever told this story. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but I will anyway. Donnie was senior year. He's married, practiced before the season. He's kind of just doing a veteran thing, And Elliot walks up to him and says, "Hey, Donnie, somebody's going to take your job, man." And Donnie's like, "Nah, nobody's going to take my job, coach." "Well, you better start practicing better because somebody's going to take your job." And Elliot actually texted me and told me, I told this to Donnie. I said, "Well, get on his ass." And then I got a text 24 hours later. I was like, "Man, Donnie was so awesome today." And I said, "Well, what was it?" He said, he dominated practice, drills, 5-on-5. He just did everything. He was great. And I said, "Well, what'd he say?" He turned around to Ellie and goes, "Now leave me alone, coach. No one's taking my job." And went to the locker room. So that's he's kind of like, "I'm going to show you why nobody's taking my job." You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what you have to do. You just have to say, "No, coach, I'm going to get this job and nobody's going to take it. You want it, you're going to have to rip it out of me because I'm going to play too well for you to give you these minutes back." And that's really what you have to do from Dothan on down. Every single guy, Max, Zebi, because there's at some point when you stop doing what you're supposed to do, he's going to have to make a decision to get you to do things you're supposed to do. And so it doesn't matter who you are, like even Donnie, captain of the team for a few years, you have to kind of call him out like Elliot did. And as like Donnie did, you have to respond and just say, "Hey, not me, man. Go look at somebody else. I'm not the one losing my job." So I mean that every single guy trying to get minutes. If I was a kid who sat last year and watched like Jacob, I would bust ass. I would make life exceptionally difficult. That's what I would do.
So we captured the newcomer side when it comes to the players, but there's also a new coach coming in, Coach Rossow. Have you ever met Coach Rossow? Are you meeting him for the first time next week?
I did. When I was in New Jersey to do something in August, he reached out and wanted to meet, and we spoke for a few hours at the hotel I was staying at. And I think Gaby's job is to kind of work on individual stuff with guys more than anything else. Like from an X and O standpoint, AB knows where he is, and Elliot knows where AB is. But AB's really good at the things he's really good at. And he is really good at it. And now it's, can you take those skill set that you have and transfer the way you teach or your drill sets or whatever you do to fit into what we need them to do? And I think AB's going to be great for that. And he's a single guy, so he has more time than the married guys do. And, he came highly recommended from one of our former guests, Adam Ginsberg. And
right.
He's good at what he does. And now it's time to be able to, put that in, he has a business where he teaches kids individually. Right. So, and in groups. So that's kind of where AB's strength is. And what Elliot loves to do is use guys for their strength. And so I think AB will be great for us. Definitely better than Yoni Cohn.
Can he beat you off the floor like Yoni Cohn?
Huh?
Can he beat you up the floor like Yoni?
I mean, if he's sleeping, like beating Yoni Cohn up the floor, you just have to be setting it.
No one tops Yoni though when it comes to booking all the hotel arrangements.
No, he's the best, but that's his strength, So we're not saying, hey, Yoni, could you draw this play up for us? That kind of thing. So
Coach,
I think,
yeah, speaking of strengths, what do you think are some of the weaknesses which the team from last year had, and that if the team this year wants to be better than the team last year, they'll have to shore up?
gotta defend better, gotta stop penetration better. That was a monster weakness. The ability for teams to kind of penetrate at will.
Foul trouble too, no?
Oh, foul trouble, terrible. But we've kind of addressed it with one of the culprits. And now the other guys have to do it. And fouling negates hustle. Like that's an old, I think it was Patino who said it. So like you do all this work and then you commit a stupid foul with 2 seconds on the shot clock. Where you foul 3-point shooters. I think we had one game where we fouled 3 or 4 3-point shooters. I mean, how dumb can you be? That's just lack of focus, right? So you got to play better on the defensive end. That's A1, and that's where I think the biggest weakness was. When we needed to get stops in big spots, we struggled to do it. Got a rebound. That was not a great. That was not one of our better rebounding years. And you got to play together. Sometimes we didn't do that. I would argue that at times in the season, some egos got in the way of our success across the board. And, putting them aside and saying, hey, I want to win. That's what I want. I want to win. I don't want trophies, individual honors. I want to win. If individual honors because of that, great. But we got to win. There's a standard that's been set. Do you want to be the group that discontinues that standard? So I think first is stops. Got to get stops, and stops start and stop with rebounding. No rebounds, no rings. Pat Riley, you got to rebound. And you share the ball, man. Reverse the ball multiple times. Obviously, is what we want. Touch the post on every possession. And attack the basket through cuts and dribbles and post-ups. What are you doing, Pop? Are you counting with your fingers?
I'm not.
I'm saying like that if you're asking me what the weaknesses are, we got very impatient because we were able to shoot the 3. We're very impatient at times on the offensive end. And what guys don't get is if they give it to you on the first pass or the third pass, you're going to get it on the 10th pass. And you're probably going to get more open on 10th pass. We have Bruce Pearl as a guest, and I do kind of agree with him when he said, we're going to get that shot off the break. We're going to shoot that off the break. I don't got a problem with that. But I do think where him and I disagree, and he's had massive success, so who am I? But I've done it both ways. And I find that the more you can make teams close out, like I think you can get to 85 points by forcing closeouts. And we've proven that on the college level. Right? So I think we can do that. I know we can do that. I don't think anything. So we gotta be more patient on the offensive end, and we can score as many points as we want. Like if we're looking to get 80 to 85 points, 90 points a game, we can do that with this group. It's just going to take patience, not to penetrate in the middle of help because, we can get ball reversed. That down the middle penetration, it's hard in college when you run what we run because of the help that teams offer that. And obviously get 5 guys on the floor who can play inside and out. And you become much more difficult. So I think that's important too. Everybody has to refine their game and fit their role and understand that shots, you know, it's not a diversity club. You're just not in this offense. You're just not going to get the same amount of shots for every guy. And if that's not okay with you, you're playing at the wrong school. Because one night it might be you, but if you're not willing to help the guy who it is and only be willing to want it when it's you, you're at the wrong school.
Well, that's why someone like Dothan fits the bill, because he
Yeah,
talked repeatedly throughout the interview how bought in he is, and
he doesn't care if he scores. Roy's exactly the same way. Exactly the same. So I think we have a really great group. I think Orr's going to be a phenomenal addition, honestly. Everybody should stay healthy. And we have a chance to play into March. A chance. How your locker room is, that's up to Gav and Adi. What you're going to tolerate, that's really, or whoever else steps up in that locker room. But Gav and Adi have to control the locker room. Hey, we are not letting that in here. You want to complain, go someplace else. We're either a unified front. What did Lincoln say? We either stand together or fall apart. Is that what we said? If it wasn't Lincoln, it should have been Lincoln. You know what I mean? But I like that. It's that idea, like we're going to stand together. We're going to do this together, win or lose together, period. End of discussion. And if they can control their locker room and keep egos out of it and understand what has to be accomplished, and they can, because they are two incredibly great guys. And I believe Gav's a leader, and I know Adi's a leader. And then it's just a matter of, keep the bitch and moan to yourself, and everybody has to be on the same page. We're here to win, period. End of discussion.
Definitely a good way to close. Pleasure to have Dothan on the show today. Pleasure to always be with you two gentlemen. Pop, let's see if I can finally get this right. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And please follow the Yeshiva League Pass Instagram page.
Just subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts as well.
And Apple Podcasts. All right. I batted 2 for 3 there. Better than the Rays today.
So Pop, are we going to let the YU Max know that we just talked about him?
You can let them know if you want.
No, I'm just saying, don't you pimp your stuff with YU Max on?
I'll pimp it on my Twitter.
There you go. You're the pimp. Pop the pimp.
Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holiday, and thanks for watching. And we're looking forward to a great season.
Yep.